Silas was the kind of man people noticed. Always well-dressed, always smelling nice, always put together. His hair was neatly styled, his shirt perfectly ironed, his phone screen spotless. He made sure every detail about him was under control. He spoke kindly, used the right words, carried himself with quiet confidence. People admired him. They said things like, "Silas is a real quality guy. He had a solid job. He showed up every day, worked hard, but he was never truly satisfied." He complained often that some co-workers didn't take their job seriously, that others had no fashion sense, that people didn't think the way he did. Anything that didn't meet his standards got under his skin. At home, his mother welcomed him with warm food. He'd say, "Thanks, Mom," but his mind was already somewhere else. He appreciated her, but the connection they once shared felt distant. When it came to relationships, nothing ever lasted. There was always something wrong. One girl was too sensitive, another too full of herself, another laughed in a way that annoyed him. No one ever seemed right enough. He went out often, nice restaurants, polite conversations, charming smiles. He even helped waiters from time to time, but deep down he was always alone. And people asked, "Why is Silas single? He seems like such a good man." Then came success. Silas started his own business and things took off. Money came fast. He upgraded his wardrobe, bought a luxury car, changed his phone again, and surrounded himself with people who looked like success. But something inside him began to shift. He grew colder, more arrogant. He no longer had time for pleasantries. He became demanding, impatient, sarcastic. He toyed with women, gave them attention, made promises, then disappeared without a word. No apologies, no second thoughts. At restaurants, he raised his voice over small mistakes. If the food wasn't perfect, it was garbage. He needed everything to be just right, or it wasn't worth his time. But the more perfect he tried to make the world around him, the more empty he became inside. It wasn't loneliness like being alone in a room. It was a quiet, heavy kind of loneliness, one that settled deep in his chest. People stayed close to him, but only because of what he gave them. And Silas knew it. He felt it, that if he lost the money or the status, most of them would vanish. He started buying expensive gifts, not out of generosity, but to keep people around. He didn't ask for love, but he didn't offer any either. He wasn't present. He wasn't honest. He wasn't happy. Then one night, sitting alone in a fancy restaurant, he looked up and saw his reflection in a large mirror. He didn't fix his hair. He didn't smile. He just stared. And for the first time, he asked himself, "Who am I without all of this?" He didn't have an answer. But something inside him whispered, "It's time to find out." So he began to change. Not overnight, not dramatically, but quietly, from the inside out. He started listening more, judging less, spending real time with his mother, speaking to people without expecting anything in return. It wasn't easy. Showing up to work without the constant complaints. But slowly something began to grow inside him. Not excitement, not thrill, but peace. A deeper kind of peace. One that doesn't need applause or approval. And that night, the night he first looked in the mirror without fixing anything, Silas had prayed. Not a loud prayer, not one anyone else heard, but a quiet plea from the depth of his soul. "Show me the truth. Give me light. I don't want to pretend anymore." From that night on, something inside him stayed different. He carried a quiet light. Not one he could see, but one he could feel. And step by step, he began to love others not to keep them close, but simply because he could. And for the first time in a long time, Silas felt at peace. Not because life was perfect, but because he no longer needed it to be.